kind of rubric absolutely has to be, do they enhance my life? If they don't bring some major value to the table, well, why am I even going to go out with you?
I met this girl online and we had gone out 4 or 5 times. I go to her place and I'd never been there before, and I kind of start looking around and her place is just filthy. Everything is just like horrendous.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Hate Dating Apps. I'm Jinah.
And I'm Daniel. And today, Jinah has a treat for us. She's got a very special guest. Would you like to introduce him?
Yeah, this episode is entitled My Neighbor Rick. Now, Rick and I have lived next door to each other for, 14 years, I want to say, Rick.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and we've both been married. We've both been divorced. We've both been on the dating apps. So I've been trying to get him on the show because he has some hilarious fucking stories. Oh my God. And I'm like, when are you going to come? When are you going to come? You will not believe some of the stuff that he has to say. But on top of that, I think the relevant to our audience discussions that we're going to have is that he is a dad with full custody of a young child, trying to make sense of how to get out there and date people. And then secondly, he is what some people, not me, would call height not optimal. And so he's
Not optimal.
well,
That's
that's the category that, if you're under 6 feet, apparently men fall into on the dating apps.
Or short kings is what I think.
Yeah, short kings. Yeah, that's what people call it. To me, it makes no sense at all. But we're going to be talking about that and so many other things. Rick, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself, what apps you've been on, how long you've been on them.
So, like, after I first got divorced, I was married for 20 years. And I mean, the world changes drastically in 20 years, from going to, I dated really young. I mean, I got married really young. So I was in my early 20s. So, right after I got divorced, I don't usually have a problem meeting people organically, but it's like kind of the way things go now. The online thing is like a necessity in a way, So I dipped my toe in it and was never very successful with it. Was on it for about 2 years, went on, had my share of dates back then. And then
And what
I
are we
did
talking about?
meet,
Bumbles, Tinders.
yeah, Bumble, Timber, eHarmony,
Yep.
All
what
the
is
greatest
it?
hits.
The greatest hits.
What's that?
All the greatest hits. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Bagel with Friends.
Bagel meets
ev-
coffee. Yeah, bagel with friends.
Bagel with friends. Wait,
yeah,
Rick just came up with a new app.
Yeah,
Bagels
bagel
Bagels
with friends. Yeah, I like.
yeah. I don't know. All of them. I mean, and I remember paying for them, and it just never really panned out real well. Then I met someone organically, and we were together for like 3 years, and that kind of went by the wayside, and then now back on it again.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, it's been 2 years that I've been kind of dabbling in that, off and on, but it's kind of discouraging. So I don't really have both feet in, honestly.
And okay, so both feet in, lots
Yeah.
of things to talk about there. But Rick, I want you to tell me that crazy ass story about the woman and the feet. Okay, Daniel, you are gonna flip a lid.
The woman and the what?
The woman and her feet. Okay, listen to
Okay,
this.
I'm already interested.
So I met this girl online, and we had gone out, like 4 or 5 times. And then finally we had graduated to the point where she's like, come pick me up and then we'll go out to dinner or something. So I go to her place, and I'd never been there before, and I knock on the door, she answers the door, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm not quite ready. Have a seat." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm a little nervous because being at someone's house for the first time, you don't know what to expect. And so I go in, she has me sit on the couch. I sit on the couch and she's like getting ready, going in and out of the bathroom, going in and out of her room. And I'm like, okay, hopefully she's ready soon so we can get going or whatever. And so she goes in the bathroom and then she comes out with like a cheese grater looking thing, like with a handle. And I was like, okay, what is this about? And then she sits next to me on the couch and starts filing her feet, like the calluses off her feet.
Right in front of you.
And yeah, right in front of me. I was just absolutely disgusted. But then I was also like disgusted at the fact that these flakes of her skin were going into the carpet. And so then I just kind of like reality hit me all at once. And then I kind of start looking around and her place is just filthy. Like the carpet is filthy. Everything is just like horrendous. And I didn't really like lock on into it until this event happened.
It's like it tracked. Like once you started doing this,
Yeah.
everything else tracked.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And then I faked an illness and just said I wasn't feeling it.
No, I don't think you faked it. I would have gotten, I would have been
No.
pretty sick myself. Oh, Jesus.
That is
Yeah.
so gross. So she's like, so anyway, Rick, while she's like grating all the skin off her
Yeah.
calluses.
Really interesting. I didn't think that, I would never even do that as a man in front of someone. So it was interesting. But the gamut of people that you meet online is definitely interesting. I think dating as a whole is interesting. You feel like you're on Groundhog's Day. It's like wake up, you're on a job interview. It's like, I mean, that's the nature of dating, but sometimes the people that you venture to meet online, it can be pretty interesting.
Well, but I mean, cheese grating her feet aside, you had.
Do we have to call it cheese grating, though?
I'm
Is it-
sorry, whatever.
Can we get rid of the food reference,
Yeah, whatever.
please?
Pumice stoning her feet aside, you had 4 dates, so you must have had some
Yeah.
commonalities.
Yeah, there's chemistry there. I would have never suspected. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, like you couldn't look beyond that.
No.
That's
it's
kind of hard to
disgusting.
be honest.
Is it? I mean, guys
Well-
are like, oh,
Well, actually,
whatever.
as I say that, I mean, how were the other 4 dates before that? Like, I mean, did she feel that you guys had reached a certain, like, level of
Comfort
intimacy?
level?
Yeah, comfort level where she could do that in front of you? Like,
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
yeah, I mean, first, I think the consensus would be like you never do that on a first date. Period. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
5th date.
And then I think the 4th, 5th date, you start going to a gray area. Some people might, have
Feel more
appetite.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After marriage is probably the safest time to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. But that one had layers to it too, because
Literally.
yes, but the thing about it is sometimes you catch people in lies too, and she had told me that she was like some restaurant manager, and it ended up that she was like the hostess where like teenage kids work and escort you to the table, and
Oh no.
it was just layers. I don't want to come across as like super judgmental. I mean, I'm
No,
like,
no, you're not.
No,
Trust me,
I've
you're
had
not.
relationships. I've had.
I think most people would agree that's disgusting.
Well, I would hope.
Okay, so Rick, in the
Mm-hmm.
whatever years that you had on the apps, I think you've had some other crazy stories. Tell me about some others.
Meeting people is always interesting, but I did take out one girl once. We kind of went to a Mexican restaurant, but we sat in the bar area, so we were kind of close to a lot of other people. I mean, the spacing as far as tables was not very far. Every other word out of her mouth was the F word, and we were getting stares, and she was very boisterous, which I'm not opposed to. That's fine. Have a good time. It was an interesting date. I mean,
Yeah, that's not what
You
you
know-
do on date number 1.
no, it was first date, and then
I mean, what the fuck was wrong with her?
exactly. I guess I kind of knew, because you kind of know when you meet someone in person. That's when you kind of know if there's chemistry. You're attracted to the person. Online, people put on their best face, so it's like the best version of them that they think other people want, right? But you're not going to really know until you sit down and meet someone whether or not there's some kind of connection there. And
So
I
she
can just
wasn't,
tell right.
this girl wasn't throwing F-bombs when you were like chatting with her online?
No, no, not at all.
Oh.
So she could have been uncomfortable. That happens a lot on first dates, but
Yeah,
but
she was nervous.
I just knew the date wasn't going anywhere. So at one point she asked to use the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And then when she came back, I had already paid the bill because
Ooh.
I wanted to hurry things along a little bit.
You wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Oh,
Exactly. And she was pretty offended at that. And then I
no
walked
date
her
number
out.
2. Okay.
Yeah, I walked her out to the car. I mean, to the parking lot, and she asked me which car was mine, like which car did I drive, and I'm like, yeah, like my spidey senses were definitely, correct in that regard. So.
What does that mean? What? Why
Well, I
does
don't
that?
know. It just seemed like then she went from like dropping f bombs to just being very materialistic, like as far as like
Oh,
what kind of stuff I drove and stuff. So I was just like, yeah,
oh
it's
man.
not my gig.
So how
But
do you,
yeah.
man? It's like and we hear these stories all the time about these horrible dates. But like having gone through that experience, I mean, it's how was she before that? Like when you were messaging her, like there was no indication. Like, I mean, do these people do they switch or are they aware that they are coming? I mean, I'm just so curious, like how people can be so different from before you meet them in person, they're a certain way, and then when you meet them like face to face, they're completely different people. Like how does that happen, Doctor?
I think that my problem is that, I think it's better to meet someone right away. I think when you like spend a lot of time texting people, it's not like you don't really get a good grasp on who you're dealing with or who you're interacting with. I know a lot of people that even like FaceTime, and I think that's probably better than starting off
I
texting
do.
someone
Yep.
like a lot of people do, because I don't know. I think it would
But you
save a
don't do
lot
that,
of
Rick?
time.
You don't FaceTime first?
I suggest, but a lot of people are against it.
And then what are
And
your thoughts about, so every, expert that comes on our show is always like, don't do dinners and maybe don't do alcohol because they can get very
Mhm,
inebriated very fast. Do
mhm.
coffee, do walks, do like a short date first. What's your philosophy on that?
You know what? There's definitely something to that, and I think that that's a smart angle. Now, whether I follow that practice, I'm not going to lie to you. I usually do the whole dinner thing,
Because he's
and
a gentleman.
He's a gentleman. Yeah,
sometimes it
Yeah,
old
does
school.
yeah.
because you're kind of like it's a big commitment, and you're stuck there, and it's because I think when you kind of meet someone, you kind of know pretty soon after meeting them whether you're interested or not. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, although, yeah, other experts that have come on have also said, don't judge based on the first date. Go on second, go
Yeah.
on third, because everybody has an off day. And then you don't really want to judge based on appearances, chemistry, that first interaction. You really just want to say, is this a good person? And if they are a
Yeah.
good person,
Right.
give them another chance, give them 2 chances. Some people have come on our show and said, even if you don't have any chemistry whatsoever, just try it. Give them a
Mhm.
chance. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Do the kind of like lower commitment meetups, and
Mhm.
then I'm okay with dinner dates on the second date, or actually even the first
I,
date.
I
But
think I think what you said about like what the experts said, it's in some of our previous episodes where they say no, give it a chance even if the spark is not there. I think the truth is somewhere like in the middle. Like if you meet someone
Mhm.
and it's a deal breaker, like there's a definite like
you are
no,
like, yeah,
yeah,
repulsed
yeah. It's
by
like
them.
there's just no like they're cheese grating their feet or something, like and it's not gonna be there's just no chance. And
No,
that's
no
one
way.
thing.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of times where I hear people go, say, yeah, she was fine, but I didn't feel any sparks. And,
Yeah.
that's what I think what they're talking
Right, right,
about.
right.
Because you saw that person who there was nothing repulsive about them. They seemed like a total normal human beings, but you didn't feel the quote unquote spark. And that's where they're saying, you catching that person one moment, like for a couple of hours in their entire lifetime, you can make that judgment, right? If it's something like repulsive right off the bat, yeah, there's some things you can't get over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but also I think our expectations often in dating apps, also because we're so used to swiping and building out that expectation, you expect to like have love at first sight, like once, oh my gosh, she just blew off, me off my
I
socks,
still
or
believe in love at first sight. I
yeah,
mean, like whether it's real love or not, but I
right.
believe in like, like lightning
Oh, yeah.
striking on the
Oh,
first
we've
date,
all been,
right?
hopefully,
We've
if you're
all
lucky,
hopefully
you've
been
been,
there.
hit by lightning. Now, whether that's love or not, different question. But I think sometimes, though, you don't have to feel that lightning, and then it can grow into perhaps something even stronger. Sometimes, like a relationship starts with a lightning strike, and then it kind of fizzles out, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it starts kind of like a low amber, like a low, fire, and then it builds into something much bigger. So you
Hmm.
never know, which way it's gonna go.
I think Rick's a pretty reasonable person,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
think he's
No,
looking for
so
one or
yeah,
the other.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
so far, yeah, I think those were deal breakers.
Okay.
I just to add on what you guys are saying, I do think that like, and definitely I've done that. It's like giving people more of an opportunity past the first date, because first dates are usually the worst, I think, because you're nervous, and it's definitely the most difficult getting past the first date. I think that's usually when you getting past that and on is when you start to formulate whether or not this is like someone you could see yourself with.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Our sponsor, Take My Face Off, makes swiping off your makeup just as easy as swiping past a bad profile. Seriously, the MIDI from Take My Face Off is this adorable facial mitt that makes skin cleansing faster, easier, and more thorough than any other method I've tried. I seriously love this product. Next time you're tempted to grab a face wipe, use a MIDI instead. It's just as fast, but it's better for your skin and the planet. Get free shipping with the discount code DATING at takemyfaceoff.com. So, Rick, you also recently encountered some challenges dating while single dadding it. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so I'd seen a girl I met online, and like I said at the beginning, like I kind of don't have both feet in, because I just am my time is very valuable, and it's tough. It's tough to fit a lot of things in. And I started seeing someone, and like every opportunity I got, I would make time for this relationship. But it turned out that she wasn't satisfied with the amount of time that I was able to give, because like Gina had mentioned, like I have my daughter full time. I'm a single parent, and she's in extracurricular activities, and that takes up a lot of our time. So it's even it's hard. It's hard to date in my situation, and I totally get it, and I totally sympathize and understand her viewpoint as well. It's just,
Yeah, but
but
you
it
were
is what
saying
it is.
she actually had children herself. So
Yeah,
she's a
but
mom.
but her kids were adults, and I still have a younger one.
Yeah, but once you're a mom, you understand when you have a child of a certain age what parental responsibility means. So, anyway, I
You
just
should,
thought
yeah.
I was a little shocked at his story about this woman who was like, um, "Hey, I need more of your time, and not like 3 times a week." You were saying she wanted to see like you daily, and she was like, "Why am I not meeting your daughter yet?" And it only been like 3 dates or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then she said that, she didn't think that I made her a priority, which it's like I have so many balls up in the air with my career and my daughter and her what comes along with my daughter. It's like, I my time is precious, but I still, and it was stressing me out. But funny thing is, Gina, she texted me today.
Oh,
So
No, what did she? Oh
whoa!
my
What did she
God.
say?
Okay, what happened?
yeah, she just basically said, I've been thinking about you and all that. So we'll
Mm,
see. But it's
Well,
just,
Rick leaves a good lasting
mm.
impression, makes the
I,
ladies
I
come
mean, I
back.
don't know about that, but it's just that, I don't know. It is difficult. Like what your show is based on, it's difficult finding people, and it's a jungle out there. It's hard, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just try to find people that are like of the same values and squared away and in a decent place in their lives, because it's hard to find. I'll just say that,
It's definitely hard to
seems
find.
like it. My
Mm.
experience has been.
Yeah, and I would say that for a single parent, which I am as well, the kind of rubric absolutely has to be, do they enhance my life?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
if they don't bring some major value to the table, well, why am I even going to go out with you? I'm doing fine. I have a kid. I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
I have a career. I have a house I have to take care of. I have friends. I have family. So it's like, if they're not enhancing, and that's such a high bar, really, because
It
our
is.
lives are very fulfilled, right? Especially if you have
Yeah.
children, and especially if you have a robust circle of friends. Like, that bar to get above, like, not only being a part of my life, but enhancing it is, I agree, a very high bar, but I don't know that that bar needs to be lowered.
No, definitely not lowered. Obviously, especially if you're a parent and you have children, your children, must be and should be your priority.
Yeah.
So, but it would also, but I can see it from the perspective of the person who's trying to, whether that person is a parent too, circumstances aside, I can see it from their perspective as well. Like, what's the point of getting to a relationship if I'm not going to be an important person in your life? If I always feel like I
Yeah,
am
but it was
just a,
date number 3.
I know. So
And her-
as my daughter would say, that particular woman may be a little, what is it, low key aggressive.
Low-key
Low-key
aggressive.
aggressive.
She's like, I need to see you every day.
Like that. But now that aside, what I'm saying is like also one side of this, like, look, we all have busy lives. I have all this priority. So basically, when you say that to a person that you're trying to have a relationship with, this particular case aside, it's like, what are you hearing from the other end? It's like, look, I have all this, I have a kid, I have a job, I have this, I have that. And so maybe you come in like 5th in my priority. And who wants to be like 5th priority in somebody's life? I mean, now if you have a very casual relationship, what the kids again call this a situationship, we're just seeing each other and you're just like, I fulfill something for you, you fulfill something for me. And we're like, just very casual, to each his own. But if you want to be in a relationship, I kind of can understand how that the other person might want to have a sense that that person is a priority. But that's something that's really hard, especially in our modern lives, especially when you've already gone through divorce and you have all this, business owners. Like, it's one thing when you're 25 and you don't make your girlfriend, your boyfriend a priority. It's another thing when you're 45 and you have a young child and you have a business to attend to and you have a house to upkeep. And to your point, it is a high bar, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you cannot lower your bar because your life is what it is. But at the same time, I can see how much more difficult it is for somebody to come into somebody's lives nowadays, especially if you're successful.
It's just that usually parents with kids have so many other things going on
Yeah.
that you really don't need another person. I mean, unless you're like financially strapped or you're looking for something other than companionship and love and relationship. You really can do without, right, having that person in your life.
You can if
That's
having
why-
friends and
Rick has a lot of friends.
Yeah, Rick. So you like, you're socially well adjusted. You have a child who you have unconditional love to and from. So your life is very fulfilled. But at the end of the day, as human beings, we also crave that companionship with another, like a life partner,
Sure.
right? Yeah. So we want that. There's a part of that who wants that. So it's a really complex balance that we're all trying to find, and it's made even worse nowadays because of the very complicated lives we live, the complex lives we live, and then the dating apps, which don't really help.
So
Yeah,
Rick,
Yeah.
talking about, things that, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, getting back to what you guys are talking about. I totally understand like the priority thing and the time thing, but I think as a parent and like how involved I am as a parent doesn't help because like I said, time is precious, but at the same rate, when you have a child and you're dating, you're very protective. I guess that would be a word for it. Like, as far as, and maybe some people aren't, and that's fine. But as far as I go, because I know I've exposed my children to people that I've dated, and I'm very selective, and I'm very protective of how that process goes. And I would never want to, per se, introduce my kids to someone that I didn't think that, like, the relationship didn't have legs, like
Right.
something casual, like you were
Yeah, because
referring.
you're on date number 3. Like, come
Exactly.
on.
So
I don't get that at all.
so then, like, I agree, and it's not for everyone, but I just think that having kids and dating slows down the process tremendously. And that's not fair for the other person if that's not what they want. And I agree, then you're just on different pages. But if you pass that hurdle, you get over that hill, then it's not so much of an issue. But I don't know, in my mind it just takes some time to get past that obstacle, to get over that hill, because if you are comfortable enough that you feel like, okay, this is someone I can introduce to my friends, this is someone I can introduce to my family, this is someone I can introduce to my kids, then there's really no the time issue goes away a lot, because you can have that person come over. Hey, let's barbecue. Let's hang out near the pool all day. It opens things up a lot.
I mean,
But
anybody with a parent, Rick, knows that. So why this
yeah,
woman who has grown
yeah,
children, but she is nevertheless a mother, didn't understand that is beyond
yeah.
me. But I did want to talk about the other issue that you're facing on the apps, which is you're very honest about being
Yeah,
5'7", is it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I read a study once that said, like, particularly online dating, like 70% of women would not even entertain anyone under, like, I think it was like 5'10" or 5'11" or something like that. So yeah,
So
so
ridiculous.
I mean, I've even had women like straight out tell me, yeah, that, that would be an issue. And I've gone on dates where they said that's an issue, and I don't lie about my height. It's right on my
Oh my God.
profile. Oh yeah.
Well, how do they say it? They're like, I mean, you're on a date with this person, and then like she what goes, hey, it's just not going to work out, and then when you dig, they say it's the height.
It's not really that type of scenario, but it's like the comments, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Oh, I thought you'd be taller, or this or that.
fuck.
But it's definitely a stigma. It's like almost like having leprosy, I think. It's like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's quite that level, but
Going
I
back
mean,
to
I'm
the
hoping,
skin falling off
right.
topic. No,
yeah.
just kidding.
I'm hoping that platforms come back in, and then I can.
You'll just wear platforms to all your
Yes.
dates. Oh my
So
God.
yeah, I thought about wearing cowboy boots. That'll give me an extra inch or two. But yeah, no, it's definitely an obstacle. I mean, I've dated women, and for a while, and they've even straight out told me that I would have never dated someone your height. But it's just that your personality overcomes that and stuff like that. But when you're online dating, you don't get to that point to
No.
meet know someone's
Exactly.
personality or know how they are. You just swipe left or right. That's it.
Rick,
You
why
look at
don't
the
you just,
profile.
can you just keep it blank?
I guess I could, or I guess I could lie.
Oh, you don't
A
want
I
to
lot,
don't
a
full
lot
know.
of a lot of
lie,
people
but
do lie. I mean, we had
That is true.
didn't we have an episode where we talk about like reasons people lie, and I forget who it was, but they had,
Maria, she was
yeah,
like, my age shouldn't really matter. And
right,
then,
yes,
yeah.
and then we talk about all the reasons why people lie, and I forget who said it, but you know, the rationale was I need to lie in order to get past that first filter, in order for me to get in front
Yeah.
of you and win you over with my personality, because I know that if I meet you, I can really win you over with my personality. I need to
Yeah.
lie so that I can get that, and there's some truth to it, because to your point, I think some of the women who dated you and said, you know what, before you, I never thought that I would date somebody, shorter, but your
Hmm.
personality, won me over. If you think about that statement, it's like, no, the fact that you are here dating me means that you were
Hmm.
open to it. It's like whatever notion you had in your head that height mattered, obviously it didn't matter at the end of the day, right? And there are a lot of this sort of, that's what we were saying earlier. Again, there's some consensus that foot shavings is definitely not, not marriage material or relationship material. But even
I
there, maybe
mean,
there's somebody there for everybody, right? But to what we're saying here is, like making that snap judgment. I think dating apps are almost built for snap judgments, right? So it makes
Oh,
it
they
that
are.
much harder, you know?
Well,
No, I mean,
yeah.
actually, to pile on that, I had a cousin who recently went through a divorce a couple years ago, and he got on the dating websites, and he actually he said he mistakenly entered his height, and it was actually 5'7". And he's like 6'2". And he was getting
Oh my,
no
right?
action, no responses, no nothing, and he couldn't figure it out. And then he looked at his profile and he's like, "Oh, this is wrong. I must have misclicked it or something." And he changed it to his real height, and yeah, opened the floodgates.
No.
I
I'm
That
telling
is
actually
you,
so disappointing.
I actually did this a while back when I was filling out the profile, and I just wanted to test it. So for ethnicity, you can put, if you're
mm,
white,
Yeah.
Asian, whatever. And when I first started, I put Asian.
Uh-huh.
I was getting like almost like no replies
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
And then I was like, just, I'm going to test this. So I just left it blank. I put like, do not declare or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then I started getting more matches,
Damn.
right? And it's just because it gets past that first
The
filter,
filter.
the first filter. And some of the women that I went out with later would say, I would have never thought that I would go on a date with an Asian guy. I've never been on a date with an Asian
yeah,
man, right? And again, it's that like it doesn't allow for you to explore because it already builds that filter and already keeps a bunch of people outside of that possibility.
I
Yeah.
know. Those filters work for us and against us.
Hmm.
well, you ever notice online? I don't know how. I mean, I'm sure you guys are familiar with online stuff, but how many people live in Beverly Hills, or like,
Oh God.
you
Yeah.
know,
And
it's like,
drive Lamborghinis.
oh yeah, people just, it's just crazy. Like, oh, you're like, wow, there's a lot of people that live in Beverly Hills, or there's some island off of LA or something or some peninsula, or I'm like, whoa, I never even heard of that place. It's like, it is crazy. And that's maybe, yeah, people, like you're saying, they have to get past that first obstacle. But my always approach to it my approach to it was that I would never want to sit in front of someone for the first time and then start off with a lie. Like, I would never want to sit in front of someone and know that, like, they were dishonest right off the get-go, because that's like red flags in my head right there, so I just try to be as honest as possible, and it is what it is, if it was meant to be.
And you know what, Rick? The other side of that is you never want to go out with a woman for whom that height is so important that she has filtered you out of it. So you
Yeah.
want to be honest about that thing because you want to attract the kind of woman who doesn't give a shit about those superficial
Yeah.
ridiculousnesses. But do you have
Unfor-
any? Sorry,
I said, unfortunately, it's just a thing, it
it
is.
is a thing. I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
In your years of getting back at online dating, and
Mhm.
we all know the struggle that it is, which is why we have this podcast. Um, have you learned anything? Are there any nuggets you want to impart to our viewers and listeners?
Oh, wow. No, I'm definitely not a pro at it, so I don't know if I
He's like, I don't know
advise.
what the fuck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no wisdom to be, gleaned from
Man,
any of
I'd like
this.
to hear the wisdom if someone has it. I mean, I think it's a good tool. I just have not yet been successful with it. And I would say I've put a good, like, 4 or 5 years in. And
Hmm.
it just, all the longest relationships I've had, I've met the person organically. Like, it's just kind of been honestly discouraging, I think, the
Yeah.
online thing. Maybe I'm going about it the wrong way, so I wouldn't be the one giving advice. I don't. I wish I could, but I'd be lying.
Well, maybe your advice is get out there in real life.
No, I agree. I think that's the best way to meet people, but that's even hard,
I
That's
because
even
where you
harder
meet
too.
know.
you meet someone at a bar, then you're like, oh, are they always at bars? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, there
yeah,
have been studies on this, like the third spaces, right? The first space is the home, second space is work, and third space is like where people gather, right?
mhm,
Parks and churches and what have you. and this is statistical truth that third spaces have been decreasing over time.
Oh,
with
yeah.
every
Nobody goes to
generation.
church.
Nobody, a church and other communal places, the YMCA and places where people would meet other people organically. Work, we're talking about this earlier. A lot of people, in previous generations met their mates at work, but now because of sexual harassment policy and stuff,
Cancel culture.
yeah, cancel, and not that there weren't abuses in the past. I'm not saying that there was definitely unsavory behavior at the workplace, and we have to have policies in place so that people are not victimized. But the flip side of that is that now, like, you have sort of thrown a cold blanket in all of it. There's absolutely no romance in the office, right?
So forcing people
that's
to
safe
go on
place
the
to go.
apps.
So where are you going to meet
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going, You just got to, because, just try both, I guess, would be, just try IRL and the apps. And then at some point it'll happen like it's happened to you in the past. We know you've struck love. So it's bound to happen again, is my thought.
Yeah, I just think that, one thing about the online thing too is I kind of think that, like, when you're forcing something to happen, necessarily doesn't happen. But when you're least expecting it, then that's when things tend to happen. Everything happens for a reason, and, maybe it'll happen online, maybe it won't, maybe it'll happen in person, maybe it won't. It's like,
It is
yeah.
kind of uncanny, actually. Like, it's like, I don't believe in, I don't necessarily believe in everything happens for a reason and stuff like that. But it is kind of uncanny what you're saying. Like, isn't it true? Like, you hear from everybody when you least expect it, when
Yep.
you're not trying so hard, that's when things happen for you.
That's right.
That is
That's
so
right.
true. And I think with dating apps, we are all trying way too hard. Maybe.
Yeah, we're trying way too hard. We're doing a lot of belly gazing over here, Rick.
Mhm.
No.
But thank you. Finally got you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And now
Oh.
all my
Little
neighbors are going to be like,
nervous, but
oh, no, you did.
Yeah.
You did great.
It was worth just for the foot shaving story.
I told
Yeah.
you.
I guess
I was like,
I
that's
guess
some crazy
the name
shit.
of it, the name of the episode will be changed to a foot grater. Or
Yeah.
something.
Foot grader, yeah.
I went on a date
Yeah.
with a foot grater.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. It was
No
a
problem.
pleasure.
Thank you,
I
guys.
see you at the next neighborhood thing. And now we're going to
All right.
sign off. This has been another fun episode of I Hate Dating Apps.
You can't love with it.
And you can't love without them. Have a good day, everybody.
I hate dating apps.
Hey, app daters and haters, tell us your dating app experience, and we just might bring you on as a guest for future episodes. Head to IHateDatingApps.com and click on the big yellow Tell Us Your Story button. You can't miss it. We've got a lot of fun content on our social channels, so please follow us at I Hate Dating Apps on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And on Instagram, we're at I Hate Dating Apps Pod. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast.